Okay, everybody, I'm back. Hopefully my video is looking a little better. I turned on the light in our office here. I don't know why it turns out so dark, but it does. So, anyways, so my last video I started talking about breastfeeding versus formula feeding. And so you heard kind of on my last video about why I'm breastfeeding and why I love breastfeeding my kids. Now I kind of want to talk to you about why formula, in my opinion, is bad, and not just my opinion, but I mean the FDA states it. It's all over the place. It's just not something that is educated to moms and dads anywhere. I mean, they don't spend any money really. There are certain states that do spend money on advocating good things for breastfeeding. But most places don't, and a lot of places don't encourage it. And so a lot of moms, I think, maybe feel ashamed of breastfeeding, especially in public. They don't want people to think weird of them, and I find that odd because I don't have a problem breastfeeding my kids in public. It's their food. I mean, we eat it in public. That's how we eat. That's how babies eat. That's how they're made to eat. And I'm not saying whip out your stuff and let everybody see it. They make awesome covers for moms and all kinds of things that can, make it a good experience for public breastfeeding. So I think it's something a lot of moms need to be educated on, and maybe take a class on it, or if your state or city has something, to look into it and to see what is going to work best for you. So the FDA website, here's some things I'm going to read from a paper because I just want to make sure that my facts are right and straight, and that I'm getting them from a valuable resource, and I'm not just getting them from a random web page. So this is all correct, at least it's on their website. The FDA website under infant formula and infant protection. So it says the FDA has been testing hundreds of food products for melamine in the aftermath of scandals this year. So that's this year, involving Chinese infant tainted formulas with melamine. Chinese manufacturers deliberately add the chemical to watered down formula to make it appear to contain higher levels of protein. Now, infant formulas, most of them, if not all of them, are made in China. And the reason for this is because the USA could no longer afford to make their formulas in the USA. It became too expensive. So they outsourced them to China, and this is pretty recent because Enfamil and Good Start, I think, several other brands used to be made in America. And now they're not because it's got too expensive, so they outsourced them. And they do not monitor the formula coming back into the U.S. They do not check it for anything tainted in it or anything. So it basically, when you feed your child formula, you're feeding them a product of China, and you don't know what's in it. It could have anything in it. So let's see. So they watered down the formula with melamine to make it look like it has higher levels of the protein. In Asia, there was more than 50,000 infants who were hospitalized, and at least 4 of them died this year from the melamine in the formula. Now, they're not putting the statistics on here for America because they don't want to scare anybody. And more than likely, a child who is being hospitalized for something that happens through their formula, they're not going to be told that that's what it's from, because the FDA has so many holds on the government and the hospitals and the doctors and what they're taught in medical school and in the pharmaceutical companies, is that these things, melamine and formula, is safe. And that's what they say. There's certain levels that are just safe, and we can just keep feeding them to our kids. And so they're not linking it, and they're not telling parents, and so parents are unaware, and they keep feeding it to their child. So that's an issue. Let's see. The FDA collected 87 samples of infant formula made by American manufacturers. They tested all but 10 of them, and I'm assuming the extra 10 are from other countries because those are going to be even worse than the ones in America. They held a conference call on Monday. I'm not sure the date of that Monday. But the manufacturer sent an alert to the preliminary findings. The FDA spokeswoman, Judy Leon, said that she did not know that the agency was going to inform the public that there was melamine found in infant formulas currently made in the USA. They were unable to establish the exact levels of the melamine the melamine compounds found in infant formula. And this raises public health concerns. So the FDA is saying, okay, there's melamine in American-made formulas, but there's an amount in there that we can't even establish. We don't even know. But we're going to still sell it because we need to make money. I mean, that's pretty much what they're saying. Let's see. Agency scientists have maintained they could not set a safe level of melamine exposures for babies because they did not understand the effects of long-term exposure on a baby's developing kidneys. The problem is exacerbated by the fact that infant formula in a baby's soul is a baby's sole source of food for many months. Premature infants absorb an especially large dose of the chemical compared to full-term babies because their bodies are developing at a rapid pace. So basically what they're saying is that there's melamine in all infant formulas. They're not going to set a safe level because there basically is not a safe level. If there's melamine in the formula, babies are getting it, they're getting sick, they're dying, they're getting allergies, they're getting, they're getting all kinds of things. And then there's the long-term health effects that they can't even establish yet because they're not testing. If they test for those, the FDA is not going to be able to make money on formula anymore because they're going to be aware of these effects. So there's no long-term studies that have ever been put out by the FDA to establish whether infant formula is safe or not. The other thing that is commonly found in most formulas, especially made in China, which most formulas are now, is a chemical called, and I might not say this right, perchlorate, something like that. And it is rocket fuel. It is a compound in rocket fuel that basically makes rocket fuel what it is. And that has been found in a lot of infant formulas, and it also is supposed to make the infant formula look like it has more protein in it, and it really doesn't. So when you have a formula that says now with extra iron, now with, BPA free, or what's the other one? Oh, more now with DHA and all that stuff. That pretty much means, okay, this formula has rocket fuel in it or melamine. That's one of the things that's going to have in it. Because they put those in there, and like I said, the U.S. doesn't monitor it, which is sad. There was a couple of years ago, there was a Dateline, I think it was Dateline, I'm pretty sure, they did a special on infant formulas coming from other countries, and they went in, and when they crossed the border, and the inspections from formula into the U.S., they don't check. But during the special, they did check, and the infant formulas, and every package they checked was contaminated with some sort of chemical like this. So that's pretty dangerous. So I'm just having a hard time understanding why people aren't more educated on this. And like I said, I don't think that it's not that a lot of parents really know. I don't think a lot of parents do know about this kind of stuff. And I'm not saying if you formula fed your baby, you're horrible. No, I'm not saying that at all. I mean, I did it. I formula fed my first baby. Why? Because I didn't know. I do think that once you know the facts, that it would be a mistake to not breastfeed your baby. Now, if your baby's 6 months old and you're finding out this information, right? like you're finding this out right now, and your baby's 6 months old, and he or she's been on formula. Now that's a hard thing because you can't just pick up your baby and start breastfeeding your baby. In that kind of situation, if it were me, I would switch my baby from infant formula to goat's milk or something else that, like, consult a naturopathic doctor and to see what would be an alternative to formula feeding, something more natural. I don't know a whole lot about organic formulas. I haven't done a lot of research on that, but I can't imagine they're a whole lot better than regular formula. So, let's see. So my next thing, I don't know if YouTube is going to cut me off. If it does, I'll do this in another video. But, so breastfeeding, I love breastfeeding. I am very pro breastfeeding. I love the bond that it gives. And the ups to breastfeeding, or the controversial things I've heard about breastfeeding and formula feeding are that, is breast milk really better than formula? Because depending on what the mother eats, what the mother does with her body, how she takes care of herself, does affect your breast milk. When you are breastfeeding, you cannot smoke. Hello, okay? You shouldn't drink lots of alcohol. I don't think it's bad to have a sip here, there, here and there of wine or something. But you're not going to sit there and indulge on alcohol. There's certain foods you should stay away from. There are, you want to eat often. You don't want to diet while you're breastfeeding because you need your milk to stay at a proper level. So there are things that go into it that you have to take care of your body when you're breastfeeding. But I emailed a lady from the Breastfeeding Association about, is it still better for a mom to breastfeed her baby if she is malnourished, or should she switch to an infant formula? So if there's a mother who is not eating properly, who might be having toxic issues in her body, or whatever it may be, is it better to switch to a formula? And I kind of got an inconclusive answer from her, but what she was trying to say was that almost no matter what, breastfeeding is always a better option. Your body naturally detoxes things in your body, as it, like, your breasts have a natural filter. So the breast milk goes through a natural bodily filter, and when it comes out, the baby has fresh milk. So that's not saying, hey, go ahead and smoke and drink because your baby's not going to get it. Your baby's going to get what's in your breast milk and what you eat. But if you're trying and you're still having some issues, or maybe you have medical issues, maybe you have some kind of medical issue that you were told you could not breastfeed on, or I can't even think of one, but it's still better to breastfeed, in my opinion, unless you're deliberately not taking care of your body, or you want to smoke or drink. I probably would say if you're going to be drinking a lot and smoking a lot, you might want to switch to formula, because you're not going to put alcohol in your baby's formula. So if that's your choice. Let's see. I love breastfeeding. The good things about breastfeeding, it boosts the baby's immune system from the day one that they're born. They have a better immune system. I, for one, can tell you that this is a true fact for me. After having Hanny and not breastfeeding her exclusively, she has a poor immune system. Kai, exclusively breastfed, has a really good immune system, can tolerate all kinds of sicknesses and all kinds of things. And so I'm huge on that. There's lots of diseases that breastfeeding protects against early and late in life. And they are effects that you may not know actually come from breastfeeding, because, again, there's no research on it. Like long term, they haven't really followed a baby that was breastfed and a baby that was formula fed to see if they get diabetes when they're 10. But it is shown shown that children that are